live on YouTube and Facebook now.
Nice.
Hey, everybody, give us a few minutes here. We're just kind of figuring out a few things, and we're waiting for Sour Keith to join us again.
So Daniel, how will we know if anybody's actually watching?
I have eyes on it.
Cool. All right, you can tell us afterwards.
Take a look.
It's just going to be like Connor. Connor's going to be watching.
I don't know what Barry.
Yeah. Who else? We'll get them.
Beads in your hair, Jeremy?
There's one person watching right now. Hey, that one person.
Whoa, you're a hero. Thanks for logging in.
Yeah. Is that you? Oh, okay. It's not my wife, apparently. She's trying to find it. You're probably going to slow the bandwidth down anyway.
Cheers, Gerald Lee. We're still figuring this out. Give us a few seconds.
Hey.
It's the computer.
Back?
I think so. I downloaded Firefox. I'm using Firefox now. It's a lot better than Google Chrome.
You're not breaking up at all.
I know. I was looking at the activity monitor. It was just draining the memory, like Google was.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys are smart.
No doubt.
Okay. Got a few minutes here. I'm going to send this out.
Come have a beer with me.
Come have a beer.
Yeah. Come on
No.
by.
Oh, come have a beer with me. Come have a beer with me.
Just come all the way down the driveway around the back. I'm in the back.
Oh, this is- Is Patrick frozen now?
He looks.
Finally. Now we can see all of Darren's plays. There we go.
All right, I'm going to move my party inside. The Wi-Fi is not working that well.
Yeah, it's incredible how much percentage of the computer Google Helper was using.
All right. It's just about 5.
Oh shit! Can I go get a beer?
Yeah, go get a beer. Come have a beer with us.
Yeah, come on by. Come over.
Oh, nice. There's
Don't come over.
Who are watching.
Yeah.
6 feet away.
Listen.
Log in. Is this? Are we able to say that this is the world's first virtual happy hour?
I think so, man. I think this is the first virtual happy hour.
No, I do this all the time.
Oh, okay. We got some people out here. Hey, everyone.
Can you grab those 2 wine
Only Joey's watching.
glasses?
I'm waiting on Patrick. Okay. So we're posting a link right now.
It's mostly employees right now. At least we're commenting.
There you go, dude.
Nice product placement there, Keith.
Yeah, product.
Make sure the glass is turned correctly.
I got my batch 1 up here.
Nice.
It's
Open
the
it.
only one I can have in the kitchen. There's 1
Prove
bottle.
it.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like there's a good amount of people commenting.
Yeah, we're getting some. Pretty cool.
Where do you see that?
Cheers, Stefan. Cheers.
Live comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
private chat ones.
What up, Cockle?
Oh, Cockle's in there. Cockle's in there.
All right. I guess it's fine, right? You guys want to get started here? So this is kind of new to us, probably new to all of you, but thanks everyone for joining us. It's a virtual happy hour, so we're gonna just do a little drinking, talk a little bit about our beers, and then feel free to throw out any questions in the comments of wherever you're watching. So right now we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Hey Nate, sorry, Nate asked why he didn't get any love, but he gets love. So yeah, we just wanted to kind of miss seeing everybody's faces. Everybody's stuck at home, so let's have a beer together. I think we'll start a little introduction. Cheers. Yeah, that's a good one. Cheers. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
And, I mean, most of you guys probably know all these guys, but still go through and do a little introduction really quickly, and then I'll keep my mouth shut so you can hear from all the guys you want to hear talk. You want to start, Andrew?
Sure, Daniel. Yeah, so I'm in Bill. Yeah, which way? Because this is mirrored.
There you go. Stand up.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Bell. I'm the innovation manager at the Brewery. Been there, since 2012, and yeah, you get to play around on the pilot system, play around with some recipes, and just generally have fun at the brewery. I think it's next to Darren. If I think it's this way. Yeah.
Oh, this way. Yeah, there we go. Hi, I'm Darren. Currently oversee all the production at the brewery, and really proud of the team that helped make our beers, and really missing not being able to be there this week. I'm stuck at home on work from home duty. But really happy to be here and having a virtual happy hour with these fine gentlemen. This is as good as it gets if you can't be at the pub. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate that. All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Come have a beer with me. Come have a beer with me.
Cheers,
There you go,
Jeremy.
Pat. It's your turn, Pat.
Can we cheers?
Cheers, buddy.
There you go.
All right. Woo. Cheers, Andrew. Woo.
The opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Oop. Cheers, Keith. There you go. Yeah, that's weird. All right. So you can tell we're already drunk, so it's gonna be perfect. All right. Sorry, I'm Patrick. I'm a guy who started the brewery that is now up in Napa working on a winery, which is closed. And but life goes on. Wine keeps getting made. Anyway.
Hey, Keith, the production manager at Brewery, make all the wild and sour beers. So
Cool. All right. What do you guys want to drink first? It seems like we're all drinking Hellas already. Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm on.
What do we want to start with, guys?
Well, I'm on Hellas, but I can switch.
Yeah, I don't care.
Let's
Drinking the Hellas. It's great.
let's do Hellas. You down for Hellas, Jeremy? Sorry.
Absolutely. I got one of those too.
Not at all.
Already had one.
Oh, I
Have
have
another.
the glassware too. Fancy.
Yeah.
That's
Down there in German world.
finally got you some Hellas, Patrick. How do you like it?
Oh, it's fucking awesome. So good. Rachel says it's Hellas good.
Watkins says apparently we can't swear on YouTube. I don't know if that's true.
Freaking good. Delicious. So, Darren, can you give us some tips on how you guys make this beautiful beer?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is actually a pretty simple beer from a recipe perspective. You know, so many of the things that we do at the brewery are really complex and dive into a lot of different ingredients and flavors and wood and all those wonderful things. But this is really just, it's barley malt and yeast and hops and water. What we're really focusing on and what I think makes this beer special is the process. So we are using a krausening process. We're making sure the entire fermentation is cold on about day 6 or 7 when the beer is pretty much fermented out. We actually back blend it with a little bit of fresh fermenting beer, and very similar to what I think people are more familiar with, bottle conditioning. We're doing that same thing in the tank, in that secondary step. And that bottle or that krausening, that conditioning, really just helps to mellow out the beer and scrub out a lot of the harsher flavors, and it creates, in my opinion, like a one-of-a-kind premium experience. And you can absolutely make lagers quicker and simpler, but there's a little bit of a nuance there with this process that I don't think can be replicated, and that's what we have going on here. So.
Nice.
Hey, Darren, we have a question from our good friend Nick Hull. And he's saying, somewhat of a mineral finish on the Hellas. Do you have a heavy water addition for it? Yeah, no, it's a good question, because water is, obviously we know water is a critical component of beer. And, it's kind of funny because it's a pretty easy rule of thumb that beer is 95% water. And that's actually not true for most of the beers we make at the brewery. Well, maybe not most, but a lot of them. Some of them are only 80% water. But at the end of the day, water is very local and very specific. And while I think water has to be acknowledged when we talk about like trying to really drill down to the style, I also think that a brewery can put its mark on how they brew a style by brewing with the water that they have, really, because that's a little bit of brewing history right there. Breweries were they've been made famous by the style that they produce, and they produced that style with the water that they had. So this Hellas is produced with our normally treated water. So when our water comes into the brewery, we're carbon filtering to remove any chemicals or any preservatives, chlorines, chloramines that might come in through the city water. We then have a specific blend that is monitored going into our brewing liquor tank, and that is partially reverse osmosis, partially from the city itself. And then we do have a specific salt addition that we'll use for lagers, and that's it. So it's really not as complex as you might think.
Yeah, it from my recollection, it's not a very heavy mineral addition compared to like we don't go out of our way to add any extra. Yeah.
Cool. Any other thoughts on Hellas? Should we just keep drinking it for now?
So for the corrosion and addition, if you don't have a batch of Hellas going in after that, do you brew it on the pilot system, or what do you do?
We did, yeah. That's for the 30 barrel batches. That's what we were doing. We aim for about 10% corrosion by volume. So if we were doing a 30 barrel batch, Andrew would brew a corrosion wort on the pilot system. We blend it right over. Now, at a little bit larger scale, we're actually brewing a specific corrosion batch if we don't have another batch that's lining up time-wise. And we'll typically put that into maybe even a yeast propagator or an empty tank. It really only needs about a 24-hour residence before you can move it over. It's cooking. So
nice.
We actually have a cool question about so we did a bottle conditioned version of this for our hoarders box. So Mario Contini is asking about, hell yeah.
What up, Mario?
What's up, Mario?
Hi, Mario.
Whoa, Mario.
So talk a little bit about that beer. So this is a bottle conditioned version of Hellas that's in our hoarders box for Q1.
Sure. Kind of let Jeremy chime in on this as well. But basically, the hoarders boxes, when we kind of talked about, and Patrick, obviously give your thoughts as well. But remember when Patrick said, "Hey, we want to do this Hoarders Box. We want to offer something special to that group of members that we're not willing to scale, that we don't think is, we want this to be grounds for ideas that may go somewhere, may not go somewhere, but exclusive." And so, fast forward, they've all been really big beers, mostly born out of our barrel age program, mostly born out of the creativity of Andrew and Jeremy and a lot of our other brewers, and Keith as well. But really here, all of a sudden, we've only been doing barrel aged beers, and Jeremy said one day, what if we, out of this lager program, we had a bottle of beer that was just bottle conditioned, and it's what the brewers drank, and we captured all that like lager goodness in the bottle. Well, what if we tried in the Hoarders Box? We can do it on a small scale. I think we can nail it. We'll see how people like it, and that's really, it captures that spirit of what the Hoarders Box was always supposed to be, and I think is. And so it was against the grain a little bit to put a 5% lager in the Hoarders Box, but we thought that it fit the bill from a creativity perspective. So what we actually did was we portioned off a piece of Helles that was finished beer. And then it was already Kreuzen finished beer. And then we actually peeled off just at the right time, at the right volume, some fresh fermenting Helles, and essentially re-Kreuzened that beer, and then bottled it down immediately. And it was the first bottle conditioned beer that the brewery side had done in a few years now. And I think it turned out wonderfully. And it does have a little slight haze. It's got some nice yeast around the punt of the bottle. So if you're into the yeast, you can give it a swirl and capture that too. But it actually does have a distinct bready, yeasty flavor and aroma that is absolutely delicious. And I'm glad to hear people are liking it. It was a small project, and there you have it.
So I think one thing that came up too, Darren, was the volumes of CO2 and like how it's produced, right? That was interesting when we first talked about that. So I don't know if you want to kind of touch on that and how that's produced. And
so this was a good question, and we actually talked about it at a society. Was it a member? It wasn't a member Monday, Social Tuesday now. But volumes of CO2. So we actually, your can of Helles, that is awesome, by the way, is right around 2.7 volume CO2. So that means for every can of Helles, you got 2 3/4 of the equal volume compressed into that can. And the bottle conditioned Helles with the bottle conditioning was actually around 2.9 volumes. So you do have a more vigorous carbonation, which just leads to a beautiful foam when you pour it. So that was a beer, turned out really good. I don't know, Jeremy, you're giving me a look like.
No, it turned out great. I think that's the beautiful thing about that beer was, as a return to like bottle conditioning a clean beer at the brewery. Yeah. We used to bottle condition a lot of beers, and some things have moved away from that. And just to return to essentially yeast driven, like bottled beer, it's fucking awesome. I love it. That's a great beer.
It's good.
Well executed. I want to hear Patrick talk about the Helles or that Hell Yes bottle. Like, he's put me on the spot before, like gave me a couple like lagers and was like, "What do you think about these?" And it was really intimidating.
Did I do something like no, you're wrong.
No, we're at Gott's roadside and near where you live now, and one of them was like a macro lager and another was a micro, and he's like, "Which is which?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" Holy shit! I'm being challenged right now. So I'd like to hear Patrick like tear into those lagers and tell us what they are. What he thinks of them.
I recall one of those beers being like from this local brewery that only makes one Pilsner, and it's like a fairly terrible. Well, I don't know if it's terrible, but it's like it smells like a Hefeweizen. It has banana and clove, and it's hazy as crap, and it's ugly. It tastes okay, but they call it a Pilsner. It's like bullshit. I mean, excuse me, Facebook, bull something. Anyway, this is. I think it's one of those perfect beers. I'm pretty biased, but I think it's so clean, has 0 defects. There's a lot of I don't know, it's interesting, for such a simple beer. It's interesting, which is hard to do, I think.
True that.
So, yeah. So I think the malt, the lack of any DMS or diacetyl are just it's fun to drink. So, congrats to you guys.
Did you taste the bottle conditioned version?
I have some waiting for me, but I haven't tried it yet. So,
okay, cool. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
So we should.
Sorry, Terrence.
All right, we'll move on. We've been drinking a lot of lager, but what do you guys want to drink next? I guess we can ask everybody what they want to drink next.
First one to pop up. Oh, there we go.
All right, let's get Handy Man.
Handy man.
Oh, just so happens.
Yeah, I just gotta.
I already have one.
Whoa. Hey, and now it's ready.
Oh yeah.
No,
this is actually one of my favorite cans that we've done lately. The artwork is just, I don't know. I like this can a lot. I think Jeremy likes it a lot. I think Alex Ponce likes it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Keith likes it a lot.
Like what?
The can. But let's talk about.
Oh yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Tell us about the beer.
It's attention grabbing for sure.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yep. I think
just have a cross up there.
Ponce
Cheers.
really-
I'll need it.
Oh shit, yeah. Like here. I go nope, this way.
Someone. Full Brady Bunch style.
Right.
I have really,
Jeremy, can you tell us about this one? Or Keith? One of you guys?
Yeah, I'll tell you about the can, and Keith could tell you about the beer. So I described exactly what I wanted on the can, and Ponce did a really good job of interpreting my vision. I'm actually just joking. He did actually a really good job designing this can. I think it's vibrant, it's attention grabbing, it's awesome. I love it. It's super. Tell you about the ideation of the beer is it's actually a kind of a riff off of a collab beer we did with MIA Brewing out of Miami a handful of years ago called Take My Hand. And it's a little bit of a riff off of that, strictly because that was the first time we used Buddha Hand in a beer. I was really happy with that beer. I love the way it came out, and we actually still have a little bit of it. And those little 375 bottles are like really cool little rippers, and they still taste fantastic. But we wanted to try that beer again, but then put a little hoppy take on it. So we well, I'll let Keith talk about all of that, but basically it's a riff off of that with a little bit of a newer aged sour dry hop tinge to it. So Keith, I'll let you talk about the beer.
Yeah, so basically what Jeremy is saying is we basically took a Foeder Saison, which is a Saison that we ferment in Foeder, so ambient fermentation, kind of just let it rip. Saison Dupont is a primary. We pitched it with Trois Andre, kind of add some funk to it. That ages for about 6 to 9 months. Then we took some of our sour blonde and blended that for some acidity. Let that kind of stabilize and ferment out whatever it's going to do. And we that's when we took the Buddha Hand and zested it in. It's kind of an interesting fruit. So I mean, it's really interesting to have to zest Buddha Hand because it's just it's all pith. There's no real like fruit inside of the Buddha Hand. So you have to zest inside and really get into it and get all that zest out. Then we basically dry hopped it with the Buddha Hand. after we really enjoyed like the smell, the aromatics, and the flavor of the Buddha hand, took that to a fermenter, and that's where we dry hopped with some Nelson Sauvin and New Zealand Cascade, and and then took that bottle condition, or not bottle condition, we can around like 2.7 volumes, so like Darren was saying, like basically telling you about the volumes of CO2, but we think that like higher volume will like makes it more spritzy, and makes the flavors pop, makes the aromatics pop. So
makes it pop. Fantastic. It's so complex. I mean, you've got all the complexity of the what we do at Teru, a little bit of hoppiness, a little bit of citrus, and I think it's fantastic, and it's not too tart. I mean, this is a summer beer if I've ever had one.
Yeah, it's definitely meant to be crushable. That's the desire. Bring a little bit of. It's not really a sour IPA trend, but bring a little bit of that, like New Zealand hop trend to a nice, kind of balanced blended tart saison, and I think it works pretty well. I'm always like pretty hard on all of our beers, but what I think works with this beer the most is how it's priced and positioned. Like it's a 4-pack of not to say it's a sour IPA, but it's priced right there. It's like $16, and you get 4 beers, and you can rip them. And they're drinkable. They taste good, and I don't know, like it's not a challenging beer, but it's super complex, but it's not challenging at all. So I think it's got that balance for it.
Good job, Keith.
Yeah,
delicious beer. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Any questions? Who has questions on
everybody? Like, how do you get it?
Is Handyman orders only? No, this one's available in the tasting rooms right now, and we're doing local delivery. You can
delivery.
Pick it up.
Delivery.
And we can ship it across the state. Yeah, ship it in California, and available at both tasting rooms.
Is it available in DC?
It's available in DC, 100%. And I believe we're going to start local delivery in DC in a couple days. So you can order, and we're going to start a web store, so you can order it online in DC in a few days and have it shipped or delivered in DC.
That's awesome.
Someone said, how local is local? It's about a 5-mile radius, but if you go onto Instagram, you can see our delivery region.
I've seen a couple other comments about some West Coast IPAs coming up. I don't know if we want to comment on that or not.
Sorry, what was that?
I see a comment in the thing about canning West Coast IPAs. I don't know if we want to talk about that.
I mean,
I think we're going to be canning West Coast IPA. I think we are.
The West is the best.
Cool. I'm not seeing a ton of questions on Handyman. Anything else we want to talk about?
It's too bad. It's a fantastic.
What's Patrick's thoughts?
I would think people would want to talk about it.
Yeah, Patrick, what are your thoughts?
I love it. Super citrusy, a little funky. It's delicious. Sour beers in general, the only issue that I have with it is like no head retention. But definitely carbonation's there, but I like my head. Sorry, guys.
Don't apologize to me. I'm fine. It's hard, It's hard to get that in a low pH beer.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm browsing for questions.
All right. I just wanted to say head.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Did dry hopping with citrus present any issues compared to the normal process?
Not really any issues except for the fact that you actually have to zest it yourself, and it's not a pelletized form, which is always kind of interesting and nice because you're working with fresh fruits. So just because what you did the year before doesn't mean it's going to be the same outcome as this year. So I mean, it's a little bit of a issue, but not really an issue. Saturation time is a little bit different every time, so that's kind of fun to work with. But it's also nice to taste every single day as this beer is aging, so it's not really a problem. So yeah, no, not a problem.
All right.
Not a problem for Keith. Not a problem for Keith.
That's right.
When is the next MIA collab coming out? That's probably a Sour J question.
Oh, we owe them. We actually owe them a trip out to make a beer with them, and it just hasn't happened for a couple years. Apologetically, of course, but we just haven't found the right time. We haven't been out. So soon, I hope, but
cool.
Not on schedule.
All right, I think we got to move on. What do you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Darren. No, there he is. Darren, you there? You got it? You're here with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, your screen's frozen. The kids must be streaming something.
All right. What do you guys want to do?
Back, Darren.
What should we move on to?
Well, I think relax, right?
Relax?
Yeah, relax.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Hold on.
Am I okay now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
You can't see me?
I can see you.
Okay. See this?
I see it.
You can see that, yeah.
Relax. The internet. It's the internet. I don't.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a little freestyle answers while we're pouring beers? Let's see. What would your dream collaboration be? Sour J.
What would your dream collaboration?
What's your dream collaboration?
I don't. Come on.
Brewery and offshoot.
What else?
I don't. Yeah, I don't have one. I'm sorry. Is that bad? Is that bad to say that I don't have one?
I have one.
Oh,
I don't know how to say the name. Sling Perla, the Roush Beer Brewery. Yeah,
cool.
Say it, Bill.
Oh, okay. All right.
Roush Beer.
Okay. No, I think that's awesome.
We should do that.
No, that's an awesome. That's actually really awesome. Because I was thinking more like New World local breweries. Like no, dream collaboration would be with some old world. Like it would involve like a trip and like holy cow, like what did I see? What did I just really take in? That's for sure. Those are the dream collaborations. Absolutely. Sorry, I thought we were talking about if I wanted to go visit the hottest thing of the moment. That wouldn't be that exciting.
I see someone in the chat said Moxa. Yeah, Derek's a good friend of ours. He was actually texting me yesterday about figuring out ways to get his beer shipped around. So that collab might happen at some point. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like most of the brewers that we want to do collabs with, we can or have talked about it. I think it's like the collabs in other industries that might be more interesting, where it's like, oh, there's some interesting results that can come about because of it. So I think brewery will continue to do collabs. I don't know if there's any like, oh, I need to try and get a collaboration with this brewery. I mean, we can use it then. So it's really all chatting with your friends. So.
Cool. Okay. You want to talk relax?
Hey, I'm back.
I'm on the top.
Hey, welcome.
We rotate.
Yeah. Now
I'm
you're
on
down
top.
I know.
What's up, Pat?
It's like your balls are
Cheers,
below
yeah.
my head. Weird.
That was the first time for everything.
I feel them on my neck.
Yeah. You poor bastard.
Might be frozen again. Oh, there he is.
I'm gonna kick him out. Should I bring Riley on? I'll let him reset his internet. Bring somebody else on.
Well, you got Riley on?
We got Riley on standby.
Whoa.
Nice.
Why is she on standby? She kick me off and get her on.
6 streams.
Uh-oh, HR's on the chat.
Patrick looking for a way out.
I think Bell can talk about the relax though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Patrick could actually probably queue up Relax, and then I could talk about it some. About the brewery not doing IPA and then doing IPA. Offshoot.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell that story. So what year was that? Was that 2017? Sound about right?
Jeez.
Yeah, because we're on 3, right? What year are we on?
Yeah, we're about to do
Yep.
the anniversary people. So
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we had spent almost 10 years, about 9 years at that point, making these amazing barrel-aged beers and sour beers and Belgian-style beers. And yet people were still asking us for an IPA. The reason that we never made an IPA prior to that point was we felt that everybody was doing a great job making IPAs. You know, pretty much every American brewer had, made that their flagship 2008 through 2012, let's say. So why are we going to add something? What are we going to add to that conversation? And I think it wasn't really until the hazy IPA came up that we're really being able to add ingredients that are, outside of the tradition for IPA that made it interesting for me. Not there's it's a style that's not really a style. It's like, you need to use a lot of hops. You need to make it hazy, but you can make it taste like anything. I think that's pretty interesting. And I don't know. I feel a little differently about it these days. So I love my clear, crisp IPA, but I love Relax.
Come on.
Sorry, guys. I'm not going to be on the next one, I imagine. But I don't know. I think Relax stands out from the crowd because it's still a very dry beer. Like hazy IPAs can be a little bit heavy on the palate, can be a little bit sweet, but I find Relax to be exceptionally drinkable and just but it still has that nice mouthfeel, round body, and awesome aroma. And you can find it. I would say it's very competitively priced compared to hazy IPAs generally.
So we have a pretty good question here. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit, but basically we piloted a lot of hazies in the Stout before we went with Relax. So maybe you can kind of talk about what about Relax really stood out to us and was like, that's the one that we want to go with.
Oh, man. I mean, specifically, we were trying to get something that would work for both, just the average customer and distro, where it would be juicy, easily approachable, and with a hop combo that was somewhat familiar. So Relax is Simcoe, is Citro, first and foremost, Simcoe, Amarillo, and Centennial. So it does have a good amount of like juicy, mellow, stone fruit character, but it also has a little bit of that sort of like pine and citrus that you get with a more traditional West Coast IPA. So it's kind of, it wasn't going all out into that like absolute complete, juice bomb. I think Retreat kind of fits that bill, where it's just an explosion of fruit character. But it is a very approachable hazy IPA in the fact that it is fruity forward. It is low bitterness. It has good mouthfeel, and that kind of stuck out to us. Just getting this combo of 5 hops and then getting sort of familiar but distinct profile together and not being too extreme in one way, shape, or form, and just being a solid zipper. That's those trials feel like this.
Cool. Here's a good question.
Yes.
That was easy.
My
Brew barley. Good cats.
Cats sold the front of our cats lurking around the apartment right now.
They're giant cats. They're big cats.
I got a group of small cats lurking around.
Hey, everybody. Sorry about that. But as many of you may or may not know, two small children. I just went out and there was coloring books and Play-Doh piled all over my router, and the board was. So I can't. I apologize. I'm fine with my provider. I'm dealing with that. So.
Oh, speak louder.
They'll speak louder. Yeah.
So here's a question.
So not only did he put that in the chat, he's also texting me to speak up.
Is that Steve's LinkedIn picture?
I think it's
very professional.
So, do we have any plans to brew a milkshake IPA? I defer. I don't know who to, but
I mean, we've done them before.
Yes.
So I'd say yes. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to see it at your local, grocery store, or wherever you see beer these days in 2020 with coronavirus running around. But yeah, I'd say it's probably at some point.
So what kind of milkshake IPA are you looking for? That might be a good question.
Yeah. What flavors of milkshake IPA do we want to see? Please fill out the chat section.
Peach.
Yeah.
we're waiting.
So let's do some crowdsourcing for this milkshake IPA.
I like peach.
I want it to be black, and I want it to have cacao and vanilla and be barrel aged for 2 years.
We have that.
It's Black Tuesday IPA, or Chocolate Rain IPA.
Chocolate Rain IPA. We talked about doing for Black Tuesday party last year about doing like a pastry short beer, like a session pastry.
Come on.
Cool.
We could have like a and then call it a hazy pastry black IPA.
Gonna make that for Keith?
Can we make it for peach?
Keith.
The other way.
Yeah.
Keith. Hold on.
Damn it.
And then we'll smoke it.
That's what I mean.
Here's one.
Yeah. The bottom
Do we still have? We have sour IPAs on at Taru for crowler fills right now, right? I think.
Right. Yeah, they're available for crowler fills. We actually just released a new one. Or it might actually still be going through like our sensory process, so I'm not even sure if it's actually released.
Yeah, but we're working on some. There's a handful of them coming around, so should be fun.
Yeah, we actually have one in Bright Tank right now, so this will be coming up pretty soon.
Cool.
So stay tuned.
What else do we got?
I know Let's Have Some Beer had a question. I think he was asking about production and how this is affecting production. I think. I don't know if,
What's the question again?
I'm looking for it. Go. I think he.
Yeah, I think it was basically about like how this like quarantining is shutting down like our production or how it's affecting our production.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, right now it's actually not too much. I mean, we have some different things that our production staff have to do and to be safe at work and respect each other. But we're trying to push forward as much as we can. I'm sorry. We might have another guest on the show in just a moment because my little boy is outside the door screaming "Dad, Dad, Dad, Dad." But going back to the actual question, we're trying to. This is crazy, and we're trying to keep our brewers doing what they want to do, and that's brewing beer. And right now, there still is an outlet for beer, and people want to have their beverages, and right now, if they can't have them out, they'll have them at home, and that has to be made somewhere. And at the end of the day, we're a relatively small brewery. But there's larger breweries that have to keep operating too. So I think I would go so far as to say we're grateful to be able to keep brewing beer right now. But what's really affecting production is, to be perfectly honest, what package you want it in. You can't have draft beer, so you want bottles, you want cans. I don't know. You have to tell us, but that's our biggest challenge right now is trying to really just keep our brewers busy and also offer the beers that everybody wants to drink at home, because that's what we have to do right now.
Yeah, maybe it's a good time for people to get kegerators.
Yeah,
do delivery of kegs. 15-mile radius.
Selling kegs online at thebrewery.com, so you can order a keg online, come pick it up at the tasting room.
Is that the website, kegs online at thebrewery.com?
No, it's just thebrewery.com /shop. But
yeah, it's like at Taru, production, like we're definitely taking steps to like mitigate each other, right? And we're definitely separating like projects. I mean, we have guys that are basically positioned really far away. No one's eating lunch at the same time. It's all staggered by like 5 minutes. It's very odd to not be able to stand next to your coworker and talk to them, but we understand it, and we all respect what's going on, and we're really trying to do our best to not even get close to each other. That's awesome. Sometimes it's an adult screaming. Sometimes it's the adult screaming.
Should we move on? What's next? What do we want to drink next?
They're all big boys coming up next.
Yeah, some big beers. No, Darren, what do you want to drink next?
Hi, so we have a new guest. This is my son Jude. He really wanted to be with Dada. So here he is, and we'll see how long this lasts. But Jude, can you wave and say hi? You have to wave. They can see you.
How's it going, dude?
Hello, dude.
Look, Keith's waving. Patrick's waving. Jeremy's waving. He's waving. Okay. Well,
just not because
he's just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Huckle.
Bear with me, folks. This is part of what shelter in place and stay at home means, is spending lots of time with family.
I think my wife told my daughter to go in the other room, and she left very angrily. So she's planning her revenge in my room, or her room. We're doing that one, Jeremy?
I think so.
Cool.
I think we're having some issues with Darren.
And Keith is gone.
Well,
It's freezing up.
that's not a surprise.
I like how the crowler that we sent to the founder of the company is the one that's like,
Riley.
What's up, Riley?
"Hey, Riley, what's up? Are you still on Hellas? You're a couple of years behind."
All right, so it looks like Riley was having some technical problems with Darren, but Riley was on deck. So Riley, you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah, hi, I'm Riley Wetzel. I'm the quality manager for the brewery. What's up?
Nice.
What's up, Riley?
Hey guys, hi Patrick.
Hey.
I was jealous of you guys' high five thing earlier.
Try it. Oh, you guys
Harder
did
than
it.
it looks, doesn't it? Yeah. Dude, this beer's awesome.
All right. So what are we drinking? Sour J. Bell, what do we drink? Bell, what are we drinking?
Huckle and Flow. We've been playing around with a couple different huckleberry courses and just seeing, what we like. And then there's also been a couple different stouts that we've been playing around and just decided to throw this together, to be honest, kind of last minute. But it comes out really well. Just huckleberry, a little bit of cinnamon. I know some people have said on some of our beers, cinnamon has been a little strong recently. So on this, it's pretty much dialed down, and then we have some vanilla on it. So it's mostly huckleberry. It's nice and jammy and juicy and stouty, obviously. But I think it's pretty tasty. It smells like huckleberry pie, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit like vanilla frosting almost to it. I don't know. It's tasty. Little pilot project, 3-barrel batch, so available from our tasting rooms and crowler fills. Even with not a lot of people drinking on premise, it's probably not going to last very long.
So this is one of the beers that you can only, it's from the pilot system, so it's only available at the tasting right now for growler and crowler fills. And either this weekend or next week, we're going to start temporarily shipping crowlers and having some of these available online for ordering. So I had to do my little marketing thing. Sorry, guys, but let's talk about.
I think that was one of the questions in the chat was like talking about the like tasting rooms and like how it affected like our on-premise sales. That was kind of a while back, but yeah, I do think it's a good thing to like bring up. Like we are doing everything to like.
It's a good point. Yeah. So I mean, we're not serving there's no on-premise consumption right now at the tasting rooms, but we are open at both tasting rooms, regular hours for to-go sales. We're also fulfilling our delivery orders out of there. So our tasting room staff is going to help out with some local deliveries. And then we are, like I just said, we're going to start doing crowlers on the website. So you'll be able to soon order crowlers online. And yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty fortunate in that Patrick kind of had the foresight years ago. Like we're set up for online ordering and like delivery and all that. So it wasn't a big... it wasn't a big shift for us. It was just more of putting some more focus on that area of the business. So I hope that answers that. But ABV on Huckleberry Stout, it looks like Jeremy showed the can, but 9.4.
Yeah, should be.
That's what I was doing.
Why is it so low?
Session beer.
Yeah, session beer.
I'm trying to actually pull up the brew just to completely remember what exactly went into this guy. I don't know. Maybe I should just drinking it and not worrying about it because this is happy hour, not work hour, right?
Yeah, let's be happy. Hey Riley, what do you do?
That's all I know.
Yeah,
I know what
Ryan,
you do.
what's up with you?
Someone asked what you do. You have a very important job.
So can you guys hear me okay? I feel like I'm
I can be heard.
All right. So as the quality manager, so really my job is to make sure that we have processes in place and specifications in place throughout the entire production process so that when the beer moves from one place to another, we can check out those, we can check out we can do certain measurements throughout the process to make sure we are meeting specifications so that our beer is consistent every time. And we also look at things that like
Hey, what up?
What
up, you?
But throughout the process, we're looking at gravity, ABV, pH. We're making sure that the yeast is healthy. And at the end, we're watching dissolved oxygen, total package oxygen. We're looking at total package quality to make sure it meets our standards. So my job is to make sure that everyone is trained and managers know what they need to do for their at-line staff. And yeah, it's pretty much what I do.
And VDKs.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I am the last
one. Yeah. Watch our stories on Monday. Well, Micro Mondays on Instagram stories.
Micro Mondays.
Yeah.
Micro Mondays.
Yeah, and so like to kind of build on that, we have a sensory program, an analytics program, and then a microbiology program is pretty much what makes up our laboratory, and they're all very, very important. But this whole crew is sensory has gone through sensory training with me and more extensively in some other cases. So that's really important for all of us to be calibrated and use the right words to describe the beers that we're drinking, so we can communicate effectively. And yeah.
Cool. So we have a bakery question. Our next bakery series is bakery oatmeal cookie. And that's hit. I don't believe that's hit distribution yet. It's definitely available to members and in the tasting rooms, but it should be hitting full distribution in April. So that's going to be the next one out there for everybody to find. We have another. It's a good question. So here's another good question, and yes, I mean we're monitoring the situation right now. The event falls outside of the recommended canceling time period for events, so we're taking a look at it, but it's definitely at risk, and we're going to do what's best for health and safety first. So we'll take a look at it, and obviously anybody that's purchased tickets, if we do have to cancel it, we will be refunding tickets. But good question and valid question given the state of things right now.
We don't want to though.
We don't want to. No, we want to have a party. Yeah.
We like to party.
We could just do it this way: ship everybody a case of beer, and we could all go on video chat. And
we could have a
what are you crying?
1,000 people.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm not seeing any of the Huckle and Flow questions. Should we? I mean, we can. If you have any questions, just comment on either of the live streams, and we'll keep trying to answer. There's a lot of comments coming through right now, so we'll keep trying to answer them. But what do you guys want to do? You want to move on, or?
I think that Black Tuesday question was pretty good, right? Do you intentionally keep Black Tuesday one of, if not the highest ABV beers, right?
That is a good question.
Well, one of it at that ABV, it has to be one of the highest ABV beers.
Right, and I think Jeremy's not in the frame right now, but Jeremy was saying like, I think he was talking to Patrick about actually like lowering the ABV of Black Tuesday. Jeremy? Wait for Jeremy. Kind of a thing. Talking to you, Jeremy. Jeremy.
What up?
This is one of your questions right here.
What that?
It's on the screen.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
So like, you know how we were talking about it, so we talk about like we always kind of creep up in ABV for Black Tuesday every year, but like we decided to kind of like methodically not increase it, right?
Yeah, we stopped that nonsense.
Right.
No, we try to make a more diligent, reproducible, higher quality beer every year, right? And you know, just increasing alcohol every year, that's the lazy man's game. So we're trying to build it backwards, you know, as Daniel Donut would say, putting the backbone back in the beer, you know. That's what we tried to do. You know, Darren fell off there, having to be a dad right now to the little ones, but you know, really Darren's the one that really led the charge on that, and you know, kind of did what everybody knew needed to be done. So I don't know if that answers the question, but you know, we want to get to a 24% beer. You know, I'm just drinking spirits at that point. You know, that's a spirit with the mixer in it. That's my choice.
Cool.
Uh-oh. What did I do?
Yeah.
You're all silent.
I was liking something.
I think that's a good answer.
I thought we were chasing Huckle and Flow, right?
Yeah, that's a good name.
Also, shout out to Connor, who many of you may know, for naming this beer. That was like instant. We had Huckleberry we made a stout, and he just threw out Huckle & Flow. So
that's the pastry guy, right? That's the pastry guy.
that is our
Pastry right there.
Pastry king.
the pastry king. As he refers to himself, the pastry king. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to higher
Huckle &
IB.
Flow.
Oh, sorry. You go for it, bud.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Huckle & Flow, way better name than Hell Yes. Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah, but I feel like when we started there was sort of like an ABV race, just like there was an IBU race. Like, let's make the most highly alcoholic beer. Let's make the highest bitterness beer, all of that. And I think we have a lot more sense these days, and we just want to make things taste delicious and not worry about ABV so much.
Absolutely.
Here's a good question. Who wants to handle this one?
I'll take a stab. I don't know if it's the truth, but I mean, honestly, like it's kind of like our members, right? I mean, when we put out bourbon barrel stouts and variants, and we get really good feedback, it kind of evolves from there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first thing, it needs to be Black Tuesday based. That's the to be a weekday here.
Maybe we can, for some of our newer followers, we can talk a little about what is the weekday series, like what is this even talking about?
Who's
Patrick.
Sorry, guys. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to determine what is going to become one of those beers, but I think you know it when you see it. It's kind of like pornography, defining it. You know when you see it. You know when you taste it.
You sure do.
Moving on. Riley, what's century notes? What if you were running? So we work together a lot, in that you send me sensory notes all the time. Like what would you pull out of this beer? Like what would be the notes that you send me on Huckle & Flow? Not to put you on the spot.
Putting her on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot.
This is open-ended because we all do this together. So whoever has some insight, feel free.
All I have is Hellas at my house.
So that's not
yeah.
So I'm gonna have to hand this off. I'm sorry.
Andrew Bell.
Come over.
Oh, Jeremy, here. I'm coming over. I'm coming.
Jeremy, other direction.
Yeah, I thought I gave a little bit of tasting commentary on this when we first opened it up, but I mean, you get a lot of that sort of huckleberry, but more, not so much a fresh huckleberry, but like a sort of baked, like cooked huckleberry, but in a very pleasant way. You get a little bit of cinnamon, and then like the vanilla comes across as like frosting. There's not a lot of roast to the underlying stout. It's just smooth, a good medley of flavors. A lot of that huckleberry, but comes across.
So
like
what is a huckleberry?
What is a huckleberry?
What's a huckleberry?
Well, or where do huckleberries come from? It's my understanding. It's a type of bramble. So someone's going to get me in trouble for not being precise. It's probably going to be Connor.
Is that like a bush or like a vine?
Connor's from the pastries are on. Connor, who we work with. It's a hybrid berry. It's my understanding. It's usually Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Eastern Washington type of brambleberry. So it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. But it's a type of hybrid bramble.
Yeah, it's more like a blueberry. So it kind of looks like a blueberry, and it's in Northwest Idaho, Montana. It's really expensive too. It's not highly cultivated. It's a weird little mountain berry, if you will.
So there's a comment we're showing right now. We actually we literally talked about this today, Sour J and I. So if you guys are interested in something like this, just let us know in the comments so we can make sure that we do it for the next one, because I don't know, I'm having fun. If you guys are having fun, I think we'll do this again pretty soon. Yeah, let's see. Shoot, yeah.
I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll be your Huckleberry. That's a popular comment. I get it. I'm your Huckleberry.
We're trying to
All right. Should we move on? Next beer?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What's next? I think is this the last one? This is the last one, right?
No, there's two more.
Two more. So in the comments, guys, just ask. I think we'll start kind of just doing open forum questions too. It doesn't have to be about the beer. Just keep asking whatever you guys want to know, and we'll try to keep up.
Which one?
Oh boy.
I mean, this is kind of a follow-up on the last one. It was very,
Stout.
What is that?
Let's go ABV.
you want to
So
update?
let's go Stout.
Oh,
Bakery
Stout.
Boys.
Oh, boys.
Boysenberry, yeah.
Are we doing
This
that?
kind of goes into questions that we asked earlier about cinnamon.
Riley, I'll give you some. Get your glass, Riley. Where's your glass? I'll pour it.
Someone in the comments earlier.
While we're pouring, maybe somebody can kind of talk to this a little bit.
I've submerged and handyman
Nice.
and Black Tuesday.
You
You Black Tuesday. You're working from home tomorrow.
It smells good.
You gotta go in tomorrow for the BDK.
Someone asked about
Bakery
the process of
Boysenberry pie.
adding
So,
ingredients to a stout.
Yes. Let's talk about that first. Let's answer that question. Good call, Patrick.
But maybe in the context of this beer.
Do it.
Yeah.
Take it, Pat.
Take it, Jeremy.
No, take it, Pat. You got this.
I didn't make this beer.
What was the question?
Yeah, what was the question?
So, like, what's the process of adjuncting a pastry stout? Like, what does that look like? And maybe we can talk to something like bakery boysenberry pie.
So what we're doing with
Got it, Bill.
what we're doing like the bakery series and bakery boysenberry pie or any of the others is all the ingredients are coming back. We're fermenting the beer out. It's getting blended with a barrel component, and then we're adding back in the fruit and the other adjuncts, be it cinnamon, vanilla. We're adding that back in after fermentation. And we're able to do that because, especially with fruit, we have a pasteurizer, which we can talk about. But it allows us to add back some of the fruit sweetness and basically stop fermentation there. And that allows for some more of the bright flavors. But as far as these series of beers are concerned, yeah, we're doing the base with plenty of back barrels, and then we're adding back, in this case, boysenberry at the end, and then we're adding back again cinnamon vanilla. This is pretty similar to the last beer in the fact that it's a berry with cinnamon and vanilla, but this one for me just blows my socks off. Like, there's so much more brightness. There's so much more brightness to it. And compared to say like bakery cherry pie, the cinnamon is very much toned down. The flavor is really much more in your face. Vanilla again comes across as like sort of some creaminess to it. There's some barrel. I think this is really, really well right now. Really well. So,
Yeah, I love the acidity in it. You know, you get that acidity from the fruit, but it's still so sweet and like I don't know, just delicious.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that, operating a brewery in Orange County lends itself to working with boysenberries, and we do that a lot. As it's part of the connection to the local thing. It's a really easy thing to talk about, and so I mean, obviously, we had the bakery cherry pie earlier in the year. This is just a slight variant on that, but it's a local variant only, so it's only available at our tap rooms. It wasn't packaged in can or bottle, so it's only available at our tap rooms, and then we had a small amount go out to to Knott's Berry Farm for their Boysenberry Festival as well, which has since been canceled. But right now, the only place to get it is at our 2 tasting rooms or for delivery. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Here's a pretty good question that we do have an answer to. What's next? The Root Keller series.
Pilsner.
Hell yeah! What's next?
Pilsner.
Yeah. I like the person asking it too. It seems like a very important person.
Yeah, the Pilsner coming.
Pilsner.
Yeah, really.
Coming.
Oh wow, Owen Wilson commented.
Yeah.
Wow.
You get to put your own name into that, or is this verified?
No.
Hey.
No.
What's up, Owen?
Owen Wilson, come to the brewery. We'll let you brew with a Pilsner.
Bring your brother.
What's up, Owen?
Hey, I always knew we'd be buddies, Owen. You and me. I always knew it.
We won't
I
even
always
maintain the 6 feet. I'll only give you 2 feet.
Every time I'd watch those movies, like the one with him, he was with the dog,
Really
I was like, he's gonna be my buddy.
So Andrew, I think this might be a good question for you. Like, so what would be the difference between the Helles and the Pilsner?
So Pilsner's,
Not to put you on the spot, but I think you're a good person.
I mean, Pilsner is definitely going to be a little bit less malty, a little bit less rich in that character. Probably a little bit more bitterness accentuated, for sure. More bitterness accentuated, and then just more hop character. Still the same sort of noble, full hop character, but definitely a bit drier, a little bit less malty, and more floral, herbaceous, noble, hoppy. So, yeah. Hopefully people can hear me. I'm seeing some comments in the comment section.
That's not his microphone. That's Andrew.
Yeah, no, I'm a quiet person. I can talk.
It's a very soothing voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might need to get a different microphone. Jeremy,
Oh, we got Dave in the chat.
Dave, what's up, Dave?
Andrew.
Remember one of our. We miss seeing your face, dude.
Andrew, can you say something in like
in
a
a stance.
mean, like
In a
nasty,
stance.
angry way?
In a stance. In a stance.
I might need someone to set me off to do that. It's not a natural reaction.
I don't know.
It needs to be spontaneous.
Can't think of any good insults.
No.
You're such a good guy. I don't know. It's hard to do. So
I'll
try one day.
I'll try and speak loud. I swear. I'll get my inner teeth, my inner tuba out. Just kill it.
Cool. Ask us questions. We want to answer some questions. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one.
I gotta say, this bakery, Boysenberry Pie, is pretty on fire though. It is pretty damn good.
So let's
A lot less sweet than
why
the
don't we
Huffman
each
Flow
answer
too.
this question, because I bet this is not a brewery answer, but it's our personal feelings for where we'd want it. I would say Long Beach because I live there, and it'd be really nice to just be able to go up the street and get to the office. So that's my answer. Long Beach. If you could open a brewery location anywhere in the U.S., where would it be?
New Orleans.
Brooklyn.
I live in Long Beach, too.
Hawaii. I'll go.
Of course, the Bay Area too. Like, we have so many members up there. That would be a big one for us.
Do it in Napa, bud. Let's do it.
There you go.
I wonder if we could do a split
What is
tasting.
that, a tasting room?
Split tasting.
Yeah,
room.
I'll
I
manage
think
that one in
it's
Napa.
legal now.
That's legal.
Yeah.
If we do it in Napa, I'm taking it. I'm gonna manage that one.
Yeah.
I'm a Pat.
Sour J hot side right there, man. Are you on your hot side?
Here's a cool question.
Hell yeah, Dave.
I don't know the answer to this, but maybe somebody else does.
The oldest beer we've sold?
Whoa.
That's a good one.
The OG
Like our
Belgian.
first beer, or the oldest beer that we're still selling.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's like, is it
That's another question.
barrel, or what are we talking about here?
Yeah, that needs clarification. I mean,
More context, Isaac.
Isaac,
So the first batch of beer, which I think Keith showed, was batch number 1, which is a homebrew contest. It was a Belgian Golden Strong. Delicious. Lauren and Mark, we screwed up your recipe, but it still came out pretty good. Sorry, guys.
we almost screwed it up the second time too. It still turned out pretty good.
Came out great.
Yeah, I think our initial mashing, we got like 120 Fahrenheit. It's awesome.
Very dry.
Yeah, we're only like 30 degrees off.
Oh, here we go. Here's the clarification. Longest the brewery has barrel aged beer.
Oh,
That's Patrick's daughter's beer.
that's Patrick's question.
Oh, yeah. So when my daughter was born, a beer was brewed in her honor. So 2011, it's still in barrel.
Yep. So we haven't sold it yet.
I heard
It's
I heard that a beer was brewed. I heard that a beer was brewed twice in her honor.
Yeah, I think what happened, I don't remember. Oh,
Well,
yeah. The first one was
Jake Goodwin told me he messed it up.
Yeah, batch one turned into corn bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, batch one turned into Humo's corn bowl, I think.
The idea for Charlotte's beer was a kind of a bourbon, what would a beer be if it was, had a sort of a bourbon mash bill. So a lot of corn is the answer. So we didn't hit the gravity on the first batch of it. And so I think when it was boiling, okay, we'll just add a ton of hops. So we added a ton of Summit hops, which smell like onions. And I don't know, grapefruity too, but a lot of onions. And released that beer. We named it after Arrested Development. There's a device that George Bluth invented called the corn baller. This very dangerous home frying machine. And
Perfect.
the beer did remarkably well. It was a malt liquor. It was probably our first IPA, but with over 50% corn. We felt like we could just call it corn baller malt liquor.
Yeah. We still hear
Good.
that all the time too. It's crazy.
Wow.
All the OG fans remember.
This
Patrick,
is a good question.
This is a good question. Yeah.
So I've always loved Belgian beers. That's kind of what got me into thinking about beer differently. So I love the flavor that they provide. I love the dryness, a high alcohol tolerance. I feel like you can go a lot of directions with the Belgian yeast strain. And I don't know. But batch number 1 is where we got our yeast strain from Mark and from Lauren, who is a microbiologist and cultured yeast from a bottle of beer from a brewery that essentially discontinued that yeast. So it's a pretty special yeast strain that we're lucky to use.
And Riley's at the helm of keeping that alive. So nice job, Riley.
Yeah.
Thank you, Riley.
Nice job, Riley.
It's healthy and safe.
Here's a good one. We're canning beers. Canning stouts. So I don't know what maybe we can talk about in general how we feel about that, why we did it. Jeremy, you're probably
that original chocolate rain I think was with this April Fool's joke. It was dipped in wax. So we just got to do that, and then that'll become truly come to fruition.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
think it's
you talk about it.
No, absolutely. I think it was April Fool's joke that years later came to fruition, and the question just disappeared. I was just trying to read its intricacies, but the funny thing is like that came to fruition, and the next part of the question is, what was it? What did it say?
That just asked if it made you laugh that it came to fruition, but I was kind of asking more.
It did, but what makes it laugh even more is when we pull it back. Then when we release it only in bottle and when it's not in can, I think that's the fun part, right? So sometimes you drop a can, other times you just decide, no, here we go. This is what we got. It's going to be in a bottle this time. There's the fun part, right?
There's always the fun part.
Yeah. Okay. Nobody agrees with me. Okay, that's fine. But I like that. That's the part. Fun.
All right.
You had in the can. You didn't buy it.
I might not always agree, but I never disagree.
Let's keep
Fair
going.
enough.
I love it.
Let's get to Apple Falls Far. So there's a really great story about this beer. I think Keith, Jeremy, and I were at CBC in Denver. Andrew Bell was in Australia choosing hops, maybe New Zealand. I'm gonna let Jeremy tell this story. He tells it really well, but there's a really neat story behind the beer. So sour.
Yeah, but I gotta get a bottle opener.
Oh yeah, let's get some.
Give me a second. I gotta get an opener.
I have to find this beer. Sorry, I didn't bring it out. 1 second.
This is a really fun beer too. This is one of our member beers. So I believe it's a Hoarders exclusive. So sorry if you don't have it, but it's one of the really exciting beers we did this year. So we had to bring it out here and talk about it a little bit.
Well, damn, everybody's leaving us, Daniel.
My computer is dying. 1 sec.
So I think one question that was pretty interesting for Riley,
Yeah.
that came up a little while ago, was about how many times do we actually have to stop production at the brewery? And
How many times do we have to stop production?
like stop the canning, stop the bottling, stop the brewing process? Like, is there like how often is that?
Very rarely, actually.
Was that the Riley question?
That was a Riley question.
Big Bear.
Yeah, it was the one that was like, how often do you stop production?
Yeah,
That was a good one. I want to hear the answer.
me too.
Yeah, Riley, how often do you stop production?
Very rarely. Like I said, we're super proactive about making sure that the right ingredients are going into the beer. We're monitoring fermentations. We're making sure that the bright beer is where we need it to be. And then as far as packaging goes, we have specifications for that too. So really we have specs throughout process to make sure that we are making the beer we intended to make. But very, very rarely do we need to stop production, because our quality means a lot to us, and everybody that's on right now, including Bell. I'm not sure where he went. We're all really dedicated to quality and making sure that the beer doesn't need to stop. If there ever is something that needs to stop, like let's say like there's a label issue, or I don't know, carb's not exactly where it needs to be, we'll catch that before it goes into packaging. We'll catch those issues before the integrity of our beer is compromised. So we have certain things in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so Riley definitely has the wherewithal and power to stop production at any moment. But we work together to make sure that we're meeting all of our quality needs before we're done, when we're in the process, and then we have a smooth sailing relationship. It's pretty cool. Riley's an all-star. We're lucky to have her. Apple Falls Far. That's the last beer we're going to taste right now. We had a hard time coming up with the name for this beer. And then I was kind of like Patrick. I was telling these guys, I was like, we were going to make a beer called Apple Falls Far like 4 or 5 years ago. And we had a name, but we never had a beer. And the beer never came about. And now we had a beer without a name. And it was an apple thing. And I was like, cool, Apple Falls Far. Let's just nail it. Let's just call it that. And then the story of the beer, right? So this is this is a conundrum of a beer, right? It's a apple ale, right? In the lineage of apple sap, if you will, which we released last year, which we all thought was absolutely fantastic. But we had another apple ale, and this is resting in apple brandy barrels for a good 10 months or so. And we decided to double barrel age it into Scotch and then finish it off in a cocktail fashion, if you will. And that comes about really out of happenstance, out of chance. What happens is brewers is a lot of times we tend to congregate together and we tend to drink together, just like we're doing now virtually. And then we also, as brewers, tend to drink things that sometimes aren't beer, believe it or not. Believe it or not, we drink wine and cocktails as well. So we came upon this idea one time last year in Denver at CBC. Some people might have been at CBC, but here's the thing: we went downstairs, right? We're at a bar, and I remember going downstairs. I don't remember coming upstairs later. But the whole thing is, whatever bar it was in Denver was downstairs. We went down the stairs, and we had this drink at this bar, and it was a cocktail, and it was on ice, but it was really sweet with cider. So it had a lot of apple juice in it, and it had a Scotch component. So it had like a Speyside Scotch. If I had to guess, I'd say it like 1.5 ounces of Speyside to 0.5 ounce of Isla, but it basically had like a Speyside body to it. It had lemon, it had cinnamon, and then on top of that, it had this like smokiness of the peat. And the cool thing about that cocktail was they were able to serve it cool, and they also heated it up and served it as a toddy, if you will.
Right.
So
that's
we had a blast. Keith was there.
I had the
Keith
hot
was
one.
there.
I had the hot one.
Yeah. Daniel was there. Patrick drove in from Napa. He was on his way in, came through over the mountains.
Or wherever he came
Salt
from.
Lake, once you get to Salt Lake, you got to go over the mountains. You know, you got to go over the mountains into Denver. So he
down to Denver.
Yeah, he went down into Denver. We went downstairs. He met us there. We were all down at that point, 100% down.
And then we
were there. So yeah, well, we were there, and so we had it all these different ways. And you know, what was funny is this has happened before. You know, at the brewery, this is the kind of thing that happens. You know, people get together, they drink drinks, they have good times, and ideas are born, right? So we got all of these crazy brewers, these innovators, these people who are trying to have a good time and trying to make a good drink, and this is what we came up with. So we came up with this idea to like double barrel this apple brandy thing in Scotch, give it a little bit of heat. We had some Speyside barrels. We had some Isla barrels. So we did like 90% in Speyside, 10% in Isla. Isla getting that peat, you know, so it's got a little bit of smoke on the aromatics. And anyway, it was a monster to pull together, but I think it worked out really well. It tastes like the cocktail, you know, it's sweet, but it's heated. It's got the alcohol. It's got the smokiness from the peat. It's got the acidity from the lemon. It's got the earthiness from the cinnamon. And I think it's just a well-rounded beer. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'll leave a light on for you.
So,
nice.
if any hoarders have tried it yet, leave some. I'm pointing the wrong way. Comment. Let us know what you thought, so we can share your thoughts on it too. But I guess we're kind of like we can talk about this beer a little bit more. But let's do sort of an open forum. So I'm asking for any questions people want. But I'm sure you're all waiting for this. So. A lot of weird stuff happening. Our shipment, we wanted to taste some erosion wines today. I don't think we're going to get a chance to, but Patrick, what do you talk about erosion a little bit, man? Tell everybody what you're up to.
Oh, sure. I have a can to show you. But anyway, so I'm up here in Napa making wine these days, making some pretty fun stuff. So we take a different approach to wine. Well, we take a different approach to wine like the brewery took a different approach to beer. So we're very flavor centric, focusing on what you can expect to experience rather than what the varietal is or what the appellation is or what the year is. And we're also adding weird stuff to wine. So we're adding vanilla and cacao and lemon zest and candy cap mushrooms and all kinds of fun stuff. So I'll show you one of our cans. So everything is going to be canned. We do right now. Right now we just have 750 milliliter crowlers, but our canning line should be up within the next month or so, and we'll have 250 milliliter cans in a 3-pack. So you get 3 opportunities to drink a bottle of wine. If you choose to drink all of them in one sitting, I don't judge, but you can drink 3 different wines in one sitting and get just as drunk and but have even better experience because you're trying different things. So there's that can. And you can actually get it from our, sorry to put a ad out here for you guys, but I'm going to take the opportunity. So if you go to shop.erosion.wine, we got a special deal just for tonight for people watching this. So if you put in the promo code brewery, you get 15% extra off. Anyway, that's my deal. So I'm having a lot of fun. It's crazy. We just opened up our tasting room about a month ago, and now we're closed down. We got to kind of restructure. I had to work. Last few days has just been getting our website online. So the brewery is very well equipped, online, ready to go. But I was very unprepared to start selling wine online. So. But now we're doing it, and I'm sure we'll hopefully run out of inventory, but we'll probably sell wine that doesn't exist and deal with those sort of inventory issues that we dealt in the early days of the brewery. So sorry if that happens, but please make it happen because I like selling things.
You really gotta have them.
All right. Let's. I think we're getting some good questions in. So keep asking questions in the comments or on Instagram. We're taking questions too, but let's just do kind of an open forum right now. Let's find some good ones.
In a stance, Dave's wife has a question. Will the brewery or True have samples of your wine? So maybe for myself, will we have samples of your wine?
Yes, there's a box on its way with 18 crowlers of the wine, and one of them may be broken because the GSO has reported some damage to the box. So it's my first test of shipping wine in cans, see if that's a good idea or not. But sure, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Take your wines on Vivino.
Nothing. I don't know how to get the wines on Vivino. I feel like you have to be someone important to get the wine on Vivino. You'll help me?
Yeah, I'll work on it.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you. We're doing all one-off wines, so we'll probably do I don't know, about maybe 40 to 50 different wines a year, and then they won't repeat themselves. So they aren't wonderful for rating because once you rate them, then they're gone. But I think overall to track a winery, it's nice to be able to look at one place and see what people think about it. So I don't think Robert Parker is going to be scoring us.
All right. So our brewery series. Let's answer some questions. Keep asking questions. Arborist, what do we think here?
The Arborist series is very much like an educational piece. Trying to see what sort of happened with someone's in the background already. Yeah, what sort of happened with beer over time, or beer in different types of barrels, and we're still doing stuff like that as an educational piece. I think I think Jeremy over there might be better at sort of saying direction whether any of these sort of projects get bottled in a beer format. I know there's some plans maybe for a hoarder's box type thing in the future to do these more educational pieces, but the Arbre series and Chronology series, I should say, were kind of like an insight into how certain parts of brewing, especially barrel aging, works. So I don't know. You might see these pieces going forward, but probably not as an Arbre or Chronology series. But I'll let Jeremy take it from
there. Can't hear you, Jeremy.
Yeah,
You're on mute.
I think your audio is off.
Still on mute. You're kind of cute when you're quiet.
Well, that's weird.
Anything good? Nothing. Keith, that's a smart idea, though. I'm ready for another Hellas.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do another question.
Green or
What's a beer that's been in the talks that people are excited for internally, but we just haven't brewed yet? Probably a good Bell or Keith question right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of feel that one. I mean, we kind of touched on it. We're like a sour IPA, where like we've been testing a lot of sour IPAs, and honestly, we just haven't really found one that we loved. We're excited about it, but we just haven't really we haven't really hit it yet. And maybe it's just me, but I personally haven't really had a sour IPA that I absolutely loved. So I don't know if Bill has any.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can hear you. Yep. You're good.
Yeah, I would agree with Keith. Like we haven't found anything that we love enough to really like go for. We're trying. It's what we do with everything. It's very chronology. Those are awesome projects, and we learned it. We learned a ton from that. We'll continue to learn. So those are things we're going to keep doing. I don't know if it'll. But yeah, we're going to take beer and we're going to treat it different ways, and we're going to release it. And we're, as I like to say, and I don't think you can say it too much, but we're going to make our work.
Yeah, I think you're breaking up, Jeremy.
All right, I'm gonna pull a question from Instagram.
But I think like what Jeremy's trying to say is like we don't do like kettle sour IPAs. Like we do traditional sour beers, and we never do kettle souring. So I think sour IPAs in general are something that's done really quick and done kind of shortcutting it. I mean, you just add lactic acid to an IPA and it's a sour IPA. We're not really doing that. We're trying to figure out how to make a sour IPA with an IPA in the souring agents that are available to us. I mean, we're just trying to make it the right way and not really the shortcut way. I don't know if that's what Jeremy's saying, but that's how I feel.
And we also can't hear him. So, so here's a cool question.
Nobody knows what I'm saying.
I know what Jeremy's saying.
Yeah,
5 years working together. That corner.
All right, here's one from Instagram that everyone can go around and answer. What's your favorite guilty pleasure beer to drink?
Oh, that's easy. I get it right now.
You already know. He's probably got a Modelo behind his.
Hold on, who's starting? Keith
I don't
can
go
start.
guilty.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he's going to pull out.
That's an easy one. Yeah. Course Banquet.
All right, pull that off the screen, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you asked. You asked.
Tell us. Bill.
Yeah, I don't have a guilty pleasure beer. If I'm drinking a beer where I don't have to, let me put it this way. With Riley's work with Sensory, I'm doing Sensory panels 5 days a week. So sometimes at home, it's kind of hard to just sit down and relax with a beer. Like I definitely can drink beer socially with a lot of people. Relax, as Keith is saying. But if I want a beer that I don't really need to think about, oh, how fresh is this? Oh, like what would I change about this? And be it my beer or a beer from another brewery, I don't know. Firestone Pivo kind of fills that void pretty often. My wife's whispering over my shoulder that we had it at our wedding, among other beers. Yeah, I can drink Pivo pretty well, regardless of the date code, and just like not have to overthink it or think like what this is. So I guess that's not a guilty pleasure because it's an awesome beer. But if I was to drink, I don't drink a lot of macro lager at home. I'd rather drink like a gin and tonic or some wine. to be honest. So
that was a very complicated answer to a very simple question. But thank you.
Complicated man.
I'm not above drinking those things. I just don't buy them and stock my home with them.
Jen.
I don't.
My guilty pleasure beer is a Blue Moon with an orange.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least you're serving it properly.
That is.
That's good.
That's like a
Yeah.
movie theater.
You should feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's like a movie theater, or if you're in the middle of nowhere.
What movie theater?
Yeah.
One
Should hang out with my mom. My mom likes that too.
Bill drinks pause.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these comments all of a sudden.
All right, Patrick, guilty pleasure beer.
I like Bohemia a lot. I feel like that's a diamond in the rough. It's made by a gigantic brewery in Mexico, but it tastes like and when you get it fresh, it tastes like a Czech Pilsner. It's pretty delicious.
Yeah.
All right.
Not very exciting, but
No, it's a good answer.
I'm getting a lot of hate for that comment.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
You chill.
All right, guys. We've almost done a happy 2 hours now, so let's take one last question, and then everybody opens some more brewery beers, whatever you're drinking. Let's keep having a happy hour, but this is going to be the last question. So let me find a good one. Give me a few seconds here.
Fine. I'm saying your message, Steve.
That AleSmith Mexican lager is pretty good. The Sublime. When you put a lime in that, it tastes like corn tortillas.
Whoa.
It's just straight corn tortillas. Like,
Whoa.
if you like corn tortillas, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I thought that was supposed to be like a one-time deal, but it seems to be like an ongoing license. It's interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, no, they redid it recently.
Cool for them. Love Sublime.
We're making that chips and salsa beer. So
Yeah, they have a Garden Grove album. Oh, are we?
yeah, it's coming out, and it's coming out soon. We just got to figure out the tomatoes and the onions, but once we get it down.
Oh, like the meat gelada. You want to get some meat gelada?
Yeah, once we get it down, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Any plan to bottle can/BT banana pudding or any of the Number Bakery beers? No bake beer. What? I'm not sure what that means.
A blast. Fast. Such a blast. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah, sure. Yep.
Here's a question. It's a good question. I'm gonna skip that one. So, a lot of like the local breweries, small businesses are kind of like having some hard times right now. And I think we all have like all of us kind of just being in the business, especially working at the brewery, we're big, kind of like, we're really into the culinary world, the beer world. What are each of your favorite, like to your home, like your local restaurants or breweries, or who would you go out there and want everybody to give a try or go support right now? Kind of in this really strange environment where you can't go out and eat at a restaurant or drink at a brewery all day. So like Bell and I are Long Beach. We'll probably give some Long Beach suggestions, but who wants to start? Bell, you start, man. You know all the food in Long Beach, dude.
I was kind of prompting you in the background on this. Yeah, local places in Long Beach that I love, want to support. Be them restaurants. There's a brewery, 2 beer and wine shops. I'm not going to say if our beer is there or not because we can't. But restaurant-wise, Fourth Horseman, Long Beach. Martin and Ryan have been huge supporters of us and just generally nice people for forever. Michael's Pizzeria in downtown. The Lupe's Ellie's chain. And then obviously Beechwood, which has been an anchor of downtown. Beechwood Barbecue and Brewing. It's been an anchor of downtown Long Beach for a while, and I know they're hurting without having a full bar and a full restaurant all the time. And then beyond that, the Wine Country in Signal Hill and Wine Crush in Long Beach are great places to just buy some beer, drink some wine. Yeah, go support these places in Long Beach. Those are my places.
I was gonna say one, like I asked us to, but Del named enough in Long Beach for both of us. So
Yeah. I'm just gonna say Uptown Whittier, dude.
It's not even raining there.
Give it to yeah, no, it is, right? I'm just gonna give it to my little town, and I'll support anybody that I can. But ultimately, we got to take care of ourselves, and you know, I hope everybody knows that we're working really hard to make some beer to get us through these times for sure. So, love and support to my hometown. Love and support to all of our customers at the brewery. Absolutely.
Riley, hit us up. Oh, dude, my voice that was embarrassing.
Oh, what was that?
I'm gonna edit that out when this goes. All right, Riley, hit us up.
I'm out.
I'm in Anaheim right now, but my hometown is Kansas City.
Did they win a Super Bowl?
What?
Have they won a Super Bowl?
Super Bowl. But but I have to give. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody on here knows much about Kansas City, but Boulevard's really big there. But as far as smaller breweries, Alma Mater Brewery is newer this year. They opened up last year, so they're a year old now. But one of my buddies is making some phenomenal beer over there. So Alma Mater Brewery, it's good. But local, support us. We love you guys. You love us. We're making some really good beers that we're all really excited about, and yeah, we're making it accessible for everybody. So we picked up like 4 12-packs last night. No, 12 4-packs last night.
You got to tip well, man. You got to tip the servers.
Oh, yeah.
The servers need some love, man.
Yeah, they do.
Any restaurants, Riley, locally?
Local restaurants? Oh, geez.
Kansas City or local to us? Anaheim.
Either.
Is
the Swig doing takeout?
Keith, what are your suggestions, man?
So I'm from New Orleans, and honestly, we always talk about Southern California, but it's really it's a nationwide issue right now, and a lot of things are being shut down across the nation, and even in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I think one of the main things, there's it's Sour Jay's back.
What happened?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, so in New Orleans, I definitely visit Parkway Bakery right now. I think this month they're actually doing their oyster po' boys, which is kind of limited to right now. Parkway Bakery is doing some awesome po' boys. I'm sure they're selling beer to go just because they don't care about the rules of on-premise, off-premise. But the breweries in New Orleans, like Mail Brewing, NOLA Brewing, Courtyard, I mean, it's amazing breweries out there. They're all doing to-go beers. And I mean, I really think it's a good time to support breweries in alcohol industry. But if you're going to buy beer or if you're going to buy alcohol, don't get me wrong, I love grocery stores that offer our beer, but please go to the brewery themselves and support them because they really need the support right now. It's great that they sell our beer off premise at grocery store and chains and liquor stores, but the breweries really need it right now. And the people that are serving those beers really need it right now. So I think you should really support those breweries just by driving by. And if it's close, just support them. Just support them. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, Avenue Pub too. Avenue Pub's doing a great bottle list right now. So most of their bottles they don't offer to go, but they're doing all of their bottle lists to go. You can drive by and they'll bring it out and buy it. So yeah.
Pastry.
Support them.
Patrick.
Yeah, it's my turn. Cool. So I'm up here in St. Helena. Restaurant-wise, there's a place called Cook that makes awesome Italian food. They have a dining room where pretty much anybody in the room cannot maintain 6 feet of distance. It's so small. So worried about them. I love their food so much. And then Mad Fritz Brewery, which is really interesting brewery that does I don't know, a lot of their own malting, a lot of their own hop growing, and they cultivate water from all over the place. Just sort of Appalachian-based beers, pretty fun. And then Napa Palisades is making some pretty delicious beers, and they're mostly revolve or mostly count on those on-premise visits. It's a restaurant primarily, so hope those guys stick it out and keep making great beer.
Awesome. All right, guys. It's been 2 happy hours now, so I think we're gonna wrap this thing up. We'd really appreciate it if you like this and you want us to do it again, and if you like the idea of a box that has the beers and that we're going to talk about during these virtual happy hours, just make sure to comment on Facebook or on YouTube. And yeah, we'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully we can start pouring in the tasting rooms again, and let us know if you like doing this. So
see you next week, y'all.
Cheers. Wash your hands.
Yeah,
keyboards are dirty.
Yeah.
Drink.
Make sure to comment.
All right.
Yeah, comment. See you in my DMs, ladies.